people may call you bluff for this. You were critical of the judiciary, which you so speak highly of currently, questioning its independence, whether there are overtures from the executive and whatnot. So why should Kenyans believe that this is...
I've never had a blanket condemnation of the judiciary. I have spoken about individual cases, which is normal. And that is why when the Constitution allows appeals mechanism, so that if you are dissatisfied with a decision by the High Court, you can go to the Court of Appeal. If you are dissatisfied, you can go to the Supreme Court, because judges are human beings. They cannot be perfect 100%.
Okay.
But you cannot remove the entire bench of the Supreme Court. And you see, what will happen is that the president will manage the appointment of the new judges through the Judiciary, because they are the ones who will interview and recommend for appointment. So what will happen is that if this is allowed to happen, one, is very dangerous for the country.
Okay.
You cannot have a vacuum where there is no Supreme Court, where an entire bench has been sent home as we process the tribunal mechanism. Again, the danger is there, because he has pronounced himself, and I have told you, he did in my presence, that we must have a Supreme Court that we control. In fact, he told me, once you are president, it is very irresponsible for you to lose an election.
Okay.
You must control the election from IBC all the way to the Supreme Court. And the president is determined, and I know him.
And this was a private conversation.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But I must tell the people of Kenya, because in fact, initially I thought it's a joke. I never imagined that any president anywhere in the world would ever want to disband an entire bench of the Supreme Court. I mean, it would cause, one, a vacuum that is unacceptable, a constitutional crisis, that a country can stay without a Supreme Court for a certain time.
Okay.
And it's a very dangerous thing, and we must not allow it to happen.
Then tell me this, Bwana Ridiji, if I can call you that. Allow me to quote you verbatim, because while in Meru, you said this: "We are telling you, if you dare plan to chase Martha Koome, stay in Nairobi and do not step in Meru again." That's just a quote from your statements. And to some people, this is a threat. This is incitement of the many people against the head of state.
It is not a threat. It's not incitement. It's just a statement of fact. Many times I have offered free advice to the president. And when I was in office, I told him not to touch the mountain. I told him not to interfere with the mountain politics. I told him not to attempt to divide Mount Kenya East and West. He disregarded me, called me primitive, called me retrogressive, called me tribal, called me all manner of names. Today, it has come to pass, he has lost the mountain completely. He is traveling on the tails of Honorable Raila Odinga to sustain his government, to keep it in power. All I was doing when I was in Meru, I was not in any way threatening the president. I was just telling him a statement of fact. 90% of the people of Meru are through with him. The remaining 10%, if he goes ahead to remove Martha Koome as Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, he will lose the other 10%. So I was telling him, there is no need for you to come to Meru anymore, because people, they will not be hostile. They'll be cold and indifferent.
So what happens if other leaders actually tell you, regarding Gachagua, you can't step in our region?
I'm not saying I didn't, I just gave him advice. I said, I did not even say he shouldn't. I said, if you remove Martha Koome. You know, I'm not saying he has not removed her. I said, Mr. President, you are planning with your deputy, the Mr. Yesa, because they are working together. And Mr. Yesa has been given the responsibility to make sure Martha Koome is out of the job. And in fact, the meeting that was held, and I've come to get the content, is that the president argues that Mount Kenya East cannot have the presidency and head of judiciary at the same time. Because Mr. Yesa is in the presidency and Martha Koome is in the judiciary, the president has told Mr. Yesa, if Martha Koome is not removed so that we can take this seat to another region, you will have to go yourself. So you must make sure that Martha Koome is out. In fact, that is a responsibility has been given. All these things that are going on, the petitions, the JSC, it is Mr. Yesa who is coordinating to save his job, because the president is clear that you cannot have the presidency in Mount Kenya East and also have the president of the Supreme Court and the Chief Justice in the same area. And all I was saying, I am not threatening the president. I cannot threaten. I just told him the truth. I'm a truthful man. I was in Meru. Mr. President, you have hatched a scheme with your deputy to remove Mother Koome as Chief Justice. If you succeed, and he can succeed because he was able to remove a deputy president who is elected by 7.2 million Kenyans. So the one for Chief Justice is even much easier. Once you do that, your relationship with the people of Meru is irreparably damaged. And there is no need for you even to come to Meru because you get a very hostile reception. As we speak, the situation in that Mount Kenya East is already very bad for him. The other day he sent messages of condolence to a funeral in Embu. And the people said, we want to hear nothing about it. He has not been to Meru. Meru is worse than Embu for him. If he succeeds now in removing Mother Koome, the people of Meru will even be more wild. They will be more hostile. And I was saying, Mr. President, because you don't listen.
Okay.
I tried to advise you, you did not listen to me. Now you are struggling. You are begging Raila Odinga to save you, to hold your government together. You are going home unless Raila holds your hand. And even if he does, I don't think he'll help you. If you go ahead with this scheme with your Mr. Yesa and succeed in removing Mother Koome, if you dare come to Meru, you'll have a reception that is very cold, that is very indifferent, and it's not good. And why I was saying that, why do I say that, Rogers? The institution of the presidency is very important for this country, and is a symbol of national unity. And the president should be able to go everywhere in the country and get good reception. When people start refusing to listen to condolence messages from our president, it really demeans the institution of the presidency. I would one day want to be president. I would want that institution to be held in high esteem. So it is also my duty as a citizen. It is civic duty. Where I find the institution of the presidency will be demeaned by acts of the president, to advise him to think twice of removing Justice Mother Koome. Again, I also want to advise him, please stop disbanding the Supreme Court. It is not good for the country. It will create problems. People will have serious doubts about the 2027 general elections, because if you put a bench that you have crafted, we already start going to the elections with a lot of doubts. And once people don't believe a process will be fair, we start on bad footing, and that is not good for the country.
So let me ask you this, and perhaps just to